Okay, here we're going to graph a graph and write an equation that has 3 x-intercepts. So I'm going to underline that 3 right here. So our first step, again, is we're going to pick 3 x-intercepts. So I'm going to pick, I still want to keep them pretty close to each other. So I'm going to pick, let's do -2. I always like 0 to be one of mine, so I'm going to go ahead and do 0. And let's do 3. Remember, try to keep them in between -3 and +3. So I'm going to go ahead and write those numbers. I chose -2, 0, and 3. I'm going to go ahead and fill it in with my zeros. So -2, 0, 0, 0, and 3, 0. You can choose whatever numbers you want, as long as they're on that blue line. I really do like to keep one of them to be 0, though. It makes things a little bit easier. So I can go ahead and write my equation up here. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with my quadratic. I'm going to take these numbers and just write the opposite sign. So I have x. Now instead of -2, I'm going to write +2. And then x, 0 is just 0, so I'm just going to write +0. Oops, maybe. And then I have +3, so I'm going to write x -3. There's my equation. Now for my y-intercept, again, I'm going to go through and multiply all these numbers together. So I have 2 times 0 times -3. So I'm going to go ahead and write 2 times 0 times -3. 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 times -3 is also 0. So my y-intercept is 0, 0. And remember, whenever our x-intercept is 0, 0, or one of our x-intercepts is 0, 0, our y-intercept is also 0, 0. So I'm going to go ahead and show that on my graph too. So that is also right here. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out what our maximum and our minimum is. And in order to do that, we need to graph this equation on the Desmos graphing calculator. So we have y equals x plus 2 times x plus 0 times x minus 3. Go ahead and delete that. Y equals x plus 2 times x plus 0 times x minus 3. Ooh, it looks like one of our points might be off of our graph. That's okay. So we have a maximum at negative, if we click on the dots, we'll know, at negative 1.12, comma 4.061. So that's our maximum. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Negative 1.12. Might need to make our text a little smaller. Comma 4.061. 4.061. So I'm going to go ahead and plot that point. It looks like it is right about at 1 and just a little bit above 4. By the way, if you want to change these, you can. Right at 1, a little bit above 4. Right at negative 1, a little bit above 4. Here we go. And then our minimum down here, if we click on it, is at 1.786, comma, negative 8.209. So I'm going to write that down for my minimum. 1.786, comma, negative 8.209. And that point might be off of our graph, but that's okay. We can just kind of throw it in there. So it's a little bit past 1 and a little bit down here past -8. We don't have -8. So a little bit past 1. -8 would be kind of down here. And now we're going to connect our points. So we're going to go from the bottom up to our maximum, down to our minimum, and back up again. And you can also use this graph to kind of show you what shape it should be in. So I'm going to go through here. Here's my maximum. Back down. It's going to hit my minimum and come back up. And don't forget to throw some arrows on the ends. And then last but not least, even or odd. If we look back up here, 3 is odd, so this is an odd function. Make that a little bigger. And there you go. So just make sure your numbers are for your x-intercepts are in between -3 and +3. And I would make sure one of them is 0.